I don't even know if Hard Knocks can make that game interesting. Grassy Posse Packer Nation, welcome to an episode of Packcast, the podcast where you're a Packers fan, but it sure does help. I am your host, Tom Grassi, and today we are breaking down the third preseason game of the 2019 season, and help me Jesus, we're only 2 weeks away from real football because tonight was ugly. And I'm not just talking about what was going on with the plays on the field, but the actual field itself as the Oakland Raiders, after the Packers were winning the entire game, beat the Green Bay Packers 22-21 with a field goal with less than 12 seconds left in the game. So let's talk about what's going on. First of all, before the game even started, this already got off to a great start. So the Packers and the Raiders decided to take up a little trip to the Great White North up in Winnipeg, Canada. And apparently, this was shocking news for the Canadians in Winnipeg because the goalposts were moved because they usually play this in the CFL up on the field. They moved the goalpost back to obviously be like an NFL regulatory game and field, and whoever filled in the holes where the goalpost used to be didn't do a great job. And so there's video of Brian Gutekunst kicking the freaking sinkhole that is forming in the end zone. And 20 minutes before the game, there was questions on even if the game would be played. And even when they said, okay, no, we're going to play the game, but here's what we're going to do. We're going to eliminate kickoffs. We're going to make it an 80-yard field. And we're going to basically have the end zone begin at the 10 and also extend to the beginning of the actual end zone. And so to begin with, this was a complete and total just cluster of a disaster of a game to just begin with. And then on top of that, the Packers were like, well, we don't want everyone to get injured, so we're going to sit the vast majority of our players. Oh, and sit them they most certainly did, as the Green Bay Packers sat 33 guys, did not suit up. So there was questions earlier in the week and even today of like, oh man, is Aaron Rodgers going to play in this preseason game? Nope, and neither did 32 of his other friends. Basically, the entire starting unit did not even see the field. And thank God, because the players, I've been already talking like a Canadian accent here, they already got hurt because you had injuries throughout the entire evening. Cole Madison was banged up a little bit. He came back, thankfully. You had Lazard, who was also injured. But on top of that, the more serious injuries, you had Rashawn Gary go down twice. The second time, he ran into some guy's backside and also got ran into. So he was brought off with a neck injury, but his agent just tweeted out and said that he was okay. So that's a good thing. Curtis Bolton, all of a sudden, like, no one knows what happened to him, but he all of a sudden was on the sideline in crutches and a knee brace. That's always a good sign. And then the worst hit of the night was the hit on EQ, who caught the ball. There was a personal foul flag that was called, but got smashed in the head. And I was like, oh, damn, like, I hope he's okay just from our concussion protocol. But also, his ankle went that way. So that way he was going this way. So he couldn't put any weight on it at all. He had to get helped off by the trainers. And so not a good night injury-wise, not a good night field-wise, just a bad night overall. And as I sat there live streaming the game, the biggest questions that I had is like, what is the point of this? And I'm not saying what's the point of preseason, because I understand the starters not starting. I agree with that, because that makes no sense. There's no need to risk an unnecessary injury. But what I'm talking about is that the guys that we were seeing tonight, it looked bad. That second half was some of the worst football I've seen in quite some time. So to start things off, you had Tim Boyle come in, and in the beginning, it was rough. It was bad. He was overthrowing receivers. He didn't look comfortable. He was just throwing it into the ground. Like it wasn't good. And then Tim Boyle seemed to kind of settle down a little bit. He finished 16 for 25, 191 yards, and 2 touchdowns. You had guys like Shepard making amazing catches. The player of the game for me was Trevor Davis, who came in and was like, hey, this is why I should be on the team. He went 5 for 78 and had a touchdown. Dexter Williams didn't touch the ball a whole lot, but when he did, again, I just love the way this man runs. Went 11 for 27. That was fine, about 2.5 average. Trey Carson had the other TD, and then Kumaro had a TD as well. Shepard had a good night. Things got called back on him because there was way too many penalties. We had 12 penalties. I believe 8 of them were holding, but Shepard went 3 for 40. But we scored 21 points in the first half, and that was pretty good, and then we never scored again after that. But looking at Tim Boyle seems to, again, have a slight edge over DeShone Kizer. Kizer had a rough night, played the whole second half, 4 for 7, got sacked twice on his opening drive, only 24 yards and an interception, but that was just on a Hail Mary attempt at the end of the game. But he looked uncomfortable, and it was bad. Every time they had some momentum, they would get some kind of penalty that would call them back. But, I mean, DeShone Kizer is not the answer. But again, Tim Boyle's not the answer either. Neither of these guys should be backing up Aaron Rodgers in a time where Rodgers, who has been going down with injuries, who has these past 2 years has been injured. I mean, like, I'm just sick and tired of, if Aaron Rodgers goes down, every Packers fan knows that that's the end of our season. That's it. This is not like a Vikings or an Eagles situation where the backup can come in, be serviceable, and win us some games. I don't know if Tim Boyle and DeShone Kizer can win us games. I flat out don't think they can. And so this is like Brett Hundley all over again. And Brett Hundley, by the way, everyone who's like saying like, oh man, this person looks really good in preseason, or this person looks really bad in preseason. It's freaking preseason. Who cares? Brett Hundley was the preseason MVP, and we're like, oh my God, this guy's gonna be worth a second-round pick. This guy's gonna be amazing. And he sucked. So, I mean, again, one, it's preseason. Don't put any stock into it. But more importantly, for years now, we have needed a veteran backup QB, and we are just not getting it. And time after time after time again, we are building up the defense, we're building up the offense, but for whatever reason, we're not building up the position, which is the most important in football, and we're not having an insurance policy on if Aaron Rodgers goes down. So instead, we are rolling the dice every single season, hoping, praying that he doesn't get injured. And I just think that's the stupidest way to approach it you possibly can. People are like, people are saying bring Kaepernick in, bring Sam Bradford in. I don't care who you bring in. Just bring in a veteran presence. I really don't care. Because you know what? At this point, they're probably going to be better than the guys that we have. And I don't even want to talk about drafting a QB. Bring in a veteran guy to back up the guy who is the best player on our team, who is Aaron Rodgers. And then, you know what, in 2 years you can call me and talk to me about drafting his successor to sit behind him for a couple years. But right now, we are playing Russian roulette on praying that Rodgers doesn't go down. Because if he does, that's the end of our season, and we're looking at another losing season. So that just drives me insane. But again, it looks like Boyle is going to edge out Kizer. Are they going to cut Kizer flat out? I wouldn't be surprised. They should at this point. Roll with Tim Boyle. Again, try to find someone who's available right now. But not good. Everything out of DeShone Kizer was just terrible for the second half. When Boyle settled down, he looked good, but again, none of these guys are blowing me away in any way, shape, or form. But again, this was the big game for Trevor Davis, who's had a great camp. He's been a standout and a highlight of just about every single practice. He brought that to the game. Matt LaFleur was talking about how really he was impressed by him tonight. Trevor Davis, I think, is going to get a spot on the 53-man roster. Him and Kumaro caught the other touchdown. Again, I think they're both definites. Trevor Davis is on the kind of the cusp. But if EQ is on IR, if this is a serious injury, then I think the door opens for guys like Shepard. But I think that overall, this was a nasty night playing on a nasty field. And I mean, I really just don't know what to pull out of this. We had missed tackles again. There was some times where the defense held up, like for the 2-point conversion, they held them. That was great. But, I mean, Nathan Peterman, all the memes and everything, like Nathan Peterman looked good tonight. That's a problem. And again, I like Nathan Peterman, and I hope he does well, besides all the memes and everything, but it was bad. It was bad. And again, obviously we didn't start any of our starters, but it was bad. So if you get anything out of this game, we need a backup quarterback who's a veteran, and Trevor Davis looks like he just secured his roster spot. And we have a bunch of injuries. That's what we got out of week 3 of the preseason. We only have one more against the Chiefs, and then, praise be, we have real football. But let me know what you think down in the comments below about this game. What do you think about Trevor Davis making it? Do you think that guys like Shepard could make the team, or is he more of a practice squad guy? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. You can always find me at TomGrassiComedy.com or at TomGrassiComedy on all social media. See down below. Check out podcasts on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Spotify, and YouTube. And a big shout and thank you to all the patrons who are at patreon.com/TomGrassiComedy. That is the easiest way to support me. So if you would like to do that and get some cool rewards and be featured in the credits in the show, check that out. But thank you so much for watching. Today, we'll have another video coming out. If the Packers, will they be a top 10 offense? We will see. Not if Tim Boyle and DeShone Kizer are there. But thank you so much for watching. Have a great night. A big thank you to everyone who checked out the stream. I'm Tom Grassi. And as always, go Pack Go.